This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
The time right now is 4:27 here. It is Monday morning. Thanks for joining our team on Good Morning Indiana. Let's get to a few of our top stories before you get into the show today. Starting with the number of COVID-19 cases here from the state health department. You can see on your screen we have 6 new deaths reported over the most recent time period. That brings our death total to about 2,500 exactly, it looks like. We also had more than 500 new cases, close to 600 new positive cases reported yesterday, and more people being tested. We also want to tell you that the hospital capacity remains very steady. Only about 3% of the ventilators right now in Indiana are being used by COVID patients. So we will continue to keep you updated on the very latest numbers from the state health department. But now I want to talk about masks. And we know that Mayor Joe Hogsett announced last week that this week, starting on about Thursday, masks will be required here in Marion County. And so if you are in need of a mask, you can pick up a free one at the transit center here in downtown. A number of businesses and people are also making masks that you can buy, and the Ben Davis students are making some that you can see here on your screen, and these will support some food drive that they have coming up this fall. So we'll give you more information on that and other resources as to how you can get the masks before those are mandatory here in Indianapolis. We do want to take a turn right now. Todd Clausen joining me in studio today. Todd, good morning to you. We had some warm weather for the holiday weekend. It was awfully sticky out there last night, but hey, no complaints overall. It was pretty dry.
Yeah, you know, we had a few isolated storms. There was that one just north of IMS that caused the lightning delay there for the Brickyard 400. Some of you saw some downpours. Many of you just had the hazy sunshine, all that heat and all that humidity that was around over the holiday weekend. And well, that's going to continue here into today. Temperatures this morning still in the 70s. Dew points are in the 70s. The air is almost completely saturated. And that's why many of you, if you haven't looked out your window yet this morning, will kind of see some condensation on the window, especially if you have the air conditioner on in your home. Back up to 93 degrees later on this afternoon with mostly sunny skies. And just like the past couple days, they won't be all that numerous, but we will build in a few spotty storms later on today. Nothing severe, but some lightning and some heavy rain with some of those storms as they start to develop. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look right now at another story we'll be covering for you today as part of our Rebound Indiana series and hiring Hoosiers. A company, local one out here in Plainfield, is hiring people, and they're taking steps to protect workers in their facility. We'll talk to you a little bit more about MD Logistics, the types of people they're looking for right now, and how they started to see a surge in demand during the pandemic. They are a supply chain company that manages supply chains for a number of businesses, in the areas they focus on are medicine and health sciences products. So obviously a big demand for those products, even being shipped to your homes right now. We'll tell you more about that, plus news, weather, and traffic coming up here on Good Morning Indiana.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 4:30, thousands more COVID-19 cases confirmed across the country this weekend, where Indiana stands as 4th of July celebrations threaten another surge. Soon it will be mandatory to wear masks out in public in Marion County. How one school district is helping meet the growing demand for face coverings and raising money to feed Hoosier families. And a big weekend at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway came to a close with the Brickyard 400, the drastic moments as racing returns to the historic track. But before we get to our top stories today, I want to thank you for joining us here on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey with Todd Clausen here on your Monday morning. And Todd, what can we expect as we start a brand new work week?
You know, more of the same, Lauren. We're just carrying it over from the 4th of July holiday here into the week. Friday wasn't all that bad, but the humidity came way up on the Saturday and into Sunday, and this is going to continue to Monday. The air is almost completely saturated here this morning. Temperatures are currently sitting in the 70s anywhere you go. 73 in Greencastle, 75 in Indy, 72 is the current temperatures. You make your way over to the Muncie area in Bloomington at 71 degrees. Here's a live look right now from IMS looking back towards downtown Indianapolis, and you can see the city skyline. So obviously this camera is several miles away in Speedway, and that means visibility not an issue here this morning. Skies are clear. No thunderstorms out there right now. You notice back off to our west, it's pretty clear as well. So there's no front coming through today, but we're we're just going to manufacture some of these storms once again with the daytime heating. We'll start off with the hazy sunshine. You'll notice the clouds start to build, and then a few of you later on this afternoon will have the chance of an isolated storm. Look at the temperatures, though. Near 90 already by the noon hour. On our way up to a high temperature today, Lauren, of 93 degrees.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look right now at traffic for your commute. This is our INDOT traffic camera at I-70, a little west of Lyndhurst Drive. You can see traffic here to our west is moving along up to speed in the eastbound directions. The westbound remains closed this week between the south split all the way over to the west side. This is going to reopen around July 28th, and of course we'll keep you updated on that schedule. So throughout this week, though, and pretty much most of the month of July, the westbound lanes will remain closed. Collector ramps to the airport remain open over on the west side off 465, so keep that in mind if you're traveling in that area as part of your commute today. Let's take a look right now over on the east side, I-70 here in Sherman Drive. You can see traffic is moving along just fine, both eastbound and westbound. We'll continue to keep a close eye on your roads, but right now it looks like there are no crashes to report in these early morning hours. Now to a developing story this morning after a deadly officer-involved shooting in Muncie. This happened early Sunday morning near 14th and High Streets. Muncie officers responded to a call of a possible suicidal person and found 30-year-old Taylor Warner sitting in a car. Officers said that they approached the car. Warner got out holding what they assumed was a gun, pointed the weapon at one of the officers. Police say he refused to drop the weapon, and that's when they fired. Warner died later at the hospital. Investigators say the weapon turned out to be a BB gun. He was also armed with a butcher knife. Officials say there is body camera footage of this incident. It's being reviewed as part of the investigation. Separated socially, but united in purpose. That's the message from a group that led a peaceful protest through Indianapolis over the weekend. The Indianapolis Ministerium organized this power parade in 2020 to give children the skills they need to be leaders. It brought together local youth advocacy groups for a parade that started at the Indianapolis Urban League. They are hoping to provide an opportunity for the voices of the future who may have answers to questions or problems that have led to the protests in the streets in the recent weeks. We talked to a woman who volunteered about why she wanted to get involved.
Well, I'm a teacher. I teach with IPS, and I see it firsthand in my students a lot, the issues going on in systemic racism, and I just want to do everything I can to bring change. We would definitely want to address police brutality. That would probably be at the forefront because we don't want to have repeat in systemic racism. For example, we had Destiny speaking earlier about how she's 20 years old and how when she was 13, she remembers Trayvon Martin being shot, and we're still 7 years later, and she's still seeing about black men on the news as we all are being shot by the police.
Organizers sent educational materials home with parents to help them talk to their kids about what's happening in cities across the country as people are fighting for equality. The resources are available online at listentoourfuture.com. Organizers hope to hold more events in the future to empower youth to make social changes in the community. Now to the latest on the coronavirus outbreak here in Indiana. More than 1,000 new cases of COVID-19 have been confirmed across the state over the weekend. The Indiana Department of Health reporting 522 new cases on Saturday, and that number went up to 596 on Sunday. More than 48,000 cases have been reported since the pandemic began. 6 new deaths were also reported each day, bringing the state's total to 2,500. More than 521,000 people have been tested for the virus so far. With the backdrop of the coronavirus pandemic this year, the 4th of July holiday weekend looked and felt different than years past. Most fireworks displays across the nation were canceled to avoid large crowds, and beaches were closed in Florida, California, and Texas. But as Andrew Dimbert reports, it didn't prevent people from gathering despite surges in cases in several hot spots.
Good morning. As coronavirus cases continue to climb in some parts of the country, many cities over the 4th of July weekend putting restrictions in place to stop large crowds, but it didn't prevent all groups from gathering. As several states see a spike in coronavirus cases, crowds and celebrations this 4th of July weekend were seen coast to coast. Many ignoring social distancing and mask recommendations. In Florida, one of the nation's newest COVID-19 hotspots, there are now over 200,000 confirmed cases, 10,000 in one day alone. The state now accounting for 20% of new cases in the entire country.
As the cases do rise, increase in hospitalizations will definitely increase as well. This is going to be something that isn't going to go away overnight.
Meanwhile, President Trump continues to dismiss the new numbers, again suggesting the spikes are a result of more testing.
We have tested almost 40 million people. By so doing, we show cases, 99% of which are totally harmless.
FDA Commissioner Dr. Stephen Hahn disagrees.
Well, what I'd say is, any case we don't want to have in this country. Any death, any case is tragic.
A vaccine is still a ways away, with health officials hoping one can be produced by the end of this year or early next year. And still, many parts of the country are moving forward with their reopening plans. New York City, for example, once the epicenter of the coronavirus outbreak, is moving forward with phase 3 of its reopening today. While here in D.C. a couple of weeks ago, we entered phase 2. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, Washington.
Well, we are just days away from a mandatory mask requirement in public going into effect here in Marion County. It starts this Thursday. Since the announcement from the mayor's office, the local school district is selling masks and has seen orders increase. As sponsors for the Ben Davis High School senior class officers are selling these masks as a fundraiser that will help local families. The idea started back in March with just 2 options. One said BD and the other said Wayne Township. Since then, hundreds of people have ordered them and requested their school colors and logos for other schools in the district, rather. The money the money raised will go to help feed families during this Thanksgiving food drive. That's a costly event.
We feed anywhere from 300 to 500 families. Each year it has increased. I'm sure this year it'll definitely increase again. And then we run a non-perishable food pantry all year long for any of our families at the high school. So when we are selling all these masks and we are raising this money, to me, every time we get a sale, I just know that that's one more family we can help.
The masks are made of cotton by Zips Dry Cleaning. We have a link right now in the RTV6 app with details on how you can buy one. And as students prepare to go back to school later this summer, a local organization is empowering young girls when they return to the classroom. You Rain Inc. helps young women ages 8 to 18 feel confident in all areas of their life. The founder, Nicole Norwood, started what she calls Project Pads. She called on the community to donate feminine hygiene products and pouches to put them in order to donate to local schools. Now, in just 5 days, the community really stepped up to donate, and they surpassed their goal of 100 packages. A big reason why, local members at Power B Bounce workout class held a mini drive and have collected hundreds of packages.
I've researched, and the stats tell us that, there are so many girls that miss school because of the lack of, or girls who just don't have the finances to buy them. So I thought that that would be a good way to give back to the school and help the mission of my organization and actually just, help a lot of girls around the city.
Well, they plan to continue collecting tampons, pads, panty liners, and pouches through July to distribute to schools starting in August. They also accept financial donations. To donate supplies or request donations for a school, just email youraininc@gmail.com. They plan to collect again every 3 months to help schools across the city. It was a historic weekend at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The Brickyard 400 completed the group of 3 races held at the track without any fans. A big crash in pit lane took multiple cars out early in the race and sent one of Ryan Blaney's crew members to the hospital. He did give a thumbs up as he was taken by medics. In the lead and with 7 laps to go, Danny Hamlin blew a tire, slammed into a wall in a fiery crash. That left the win open for Kevin Harvick off the restart, who got to kiss the bricks for the 3rd time in his career. As gyms reopen, there are things to keep in mind if you plan to work out. Still ahead, what you need to look out for, even if the gym is taking extreme safety measures. Todd.
Yeah, Lauren, yesterday our high temperature got up to 94 degrees. That's the warmest temperature we've had so far this summer season, or for this year for that matter, at Indianapolis. We'll get close to that not only once, but several times going forward throughout this upcoming week. We'll talk all about it in your Storm Team 6 forecast. Time now is 4:41. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on RTV6.
Hiring Hoosiers only on RTV6.
It is 4:44 on your Monday. Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Here's a live look south of downtown I-65 and Keystone Avenue, where we still have ongoing construction work and lane shifting in the area. So just use caution whether you're traveling northbound or southbound. Right now, everything is moving along up to speed. President Donald Trump says he will hold another rally in New Hampshire next weekend. It will be held in an airplane hangar at Portsmouth International Airport on Saturday. According to the event announcement, the campaign will provide masks and hand sanitizer to the attendees. Those precautions come after several members of Trump's team tested positive for COVID-19 following his Oklahoma rally last month. Now, the construction of the natural gas pipeline that was supposed to span 3 states is off. Dominion Energy and Duke Energy say they're canceling the Atlantic Coast Pipeline project. It was supposed to stretch across West Virginia, and North Carolina. Environmentalists sued to stop it, but the companies won in Supreme Court. Instead, they say the project no longer makes sense economically due to the delays and the increase in cost. It is time now for a check of our forecast on this Monday. And Todd, even though we're starting a new work week, it's a lot of the same.
Yeah, it's just going to carry on here throughout the entire week. That is the heat, the humidity, and the chance of storms. In fact, almost every day this week, except for probably the weekend, I think that will have the potential to get to 90 degrees. Heat index values will be near 100 degrees at times. And with the heat and the humidity will come a daily chance of some isolated thunderstorms flaring up, mainly during the afternoon hours during the peak heating of the day. The view from downtown from IMS looking off towards the east here this morning. The city looking really nice, 75 degrees. That's the current temperature. The dew point is at 71 degrees. When you're in the 70s, that's starting to get uncomfortable. And when the actual temperature and the dew point temperature are close together, that means the air is almost completely saturated. That's why we have a humidity this morning all the way up there at 87%. So it's a pretty uncomfortable start to the day. And these temperatures, which are in the 70s anywhere you go across the area, these will moderate very, very quickly across the area this morning. And we're probably looking at the upper 80s, close to 90 degrees already by the noon hour. 71 in Bloomington, 73 in Tipton. 71 is the current temperature in Richmond. And here's how it breaks down for you hour by hour. 81 degrees already by 9 a.m., 87 degrees by 11 a.m., 89 by the noon hour. And then throughout the afternoon hours, we're firmly in the 90s with our high temperature today expected to get up to 93 degrees. And then we'll build in the chance of a few of those isolated thunderstorms across the area. We've had a few showers this morning and continuing overnight. They've now moved off into Ohio and then off to our west. There's really not a whole lot going on, and there's no front that's going to slide through the area or anything like that. We're just looking at some of these storms flaring up during the peak heating of the day. Just like we saw yesterday, we had that one storm up in the Fishers and Carmel area, and then it slowly sunk south down into Marion County. And here we are, 3 o'clock. Everything's very, very spotty. Perfectly feasible. You go throughout the entire day without even a drop of rainfall, but some of you could see a few heavy downpours. Not expecting any severe weather with these storms, but obviously any thunderstorm could contain some lightning, and that would make it dangerous. So make sure if you do have that in your neighborhood, you take your plans inside. Temperatures will be in the 80s throughout the evening hours. Once the sun starts to set, the storms will fade away. Sunset this evening is at 9:16, and then for the day tomorrow, back up into the 90s. Once again, the chance of some isolated storms. And as you look at your 7-day planning forecast, it's a pretty consistent theme here straight across the board with temperatures in the low to mid 90s. Once we get to Friday, a front does come through, and that's when the storms become a little more numerous. And then we'll keep some spotty storm chances in the week, the forecast for the weekend. But over the weekend, Lauren, the temperatures, it's not a lot, but they subtly do start to come down back into the upper 80s by Sunday.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Let's take a look right now at traffic as you're heading out on the roads. This is I-465 near East 16th Street on the east side of town. Traffic here is moving along smoothly, picking up as you can see on your screen, but no delays to report. So let's take you over to the west side. I-465, a view here near High School Road. You can see traffic there is moving along up to speed as well. Keep in mind, we do have westbound lanes of I-70 closed on the west side between the downtown area at the south split over to the 465 ramps heading near the airport. The collector ramps do remain open in that area. You can use those as a detour to get around, and we'll continue to keep you updated on any issues that could impact your Monday commute. It is 4:48, and we do have some sad news this morning. Broadway star Nick Cordero lost his battle with the coronavirus. He spent more than 90 days in the hospital with his wife, Amanda Klutz, keeping fans updated throughout his struggles. ABC's Mona Kosar Abdi has more.
Live your life. This morning, the Broadway world mourning one of their own. Nick Cordero, Tony nominee, husband and father, passing away from complications of coronavirus 95 days after he first checked into the ER. 3 months after being admitted to a Los Angeles hospital with what was originally thought to be pneumonia, the Canadian actor spent weeks in intensive care, had his right leg amputated, and lost more than 60 pounds. The star of stage and screen also suffering several mini strokes. The 41-year-old was seemingly healthy before getting sick in March.
I've been running high, I've been running low, I've been running.
His wife Amanda keeping fans and followers up to date on his health journey, waking up from a coma in May.
Dada is awake! Yay!
But then a series of setbacks for Cordero. Amanda saying just last week that he'll likely need a double lung transplant.
A 99% chance that he would be needing that in order to live the kind of life that I know my husband would want to live.
Amanda confirming his passing last night, writing on Instagram, quote, "I am in disbelief and hurting everywhere. My heart is broken as I cannot imagine our lives without him." Mona Kosar Abdi, ABC News, New York.
The time now is 4:50. Gyms are back open in several states, including right here in Indiana, but doctors are saying if you're considering going, assess the risk first. If you or somebody you live with is high risk for COVID-19, consider alternative workouts. Doctors say even with the extreme safety measures many gyms are taking, exercising indoors where people are breathing heavily increases your chances for infection more than other public spaces. If you do choose to go, doctors say try to steer clear of smaller gyms with less ventilation and stay as far away from others as possible. A rapid coronavirus test that's being developed now could be the key to sports returning in the fall. The director for the National Institutes of Health says the test would be done on site for teams. It would have results within an hour. The goal is to eliminate having to bring the test to a lab or bringing it to one very close by. This could prevent an outbreak that could sideline an entire team. A persistent bear continues to try and make his way into one family's California home. So after the break, his latest attempt all caught on camera. And coming up, people gathered at a Catholic church in Carmel to protest against the church's pastor after comments he made about the demonstrators in an online post. New at 5 o'clock, why some say his suspension isn't enough. The time right now is 5:51. Stick around. We'll be right back. Only on RTV 6 News. The time right now is 4:55. Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Here's a live look at your commute right now where there are no issues. Traffic is moving along up to speed here through the downtown area. We'll continue to keep a close eye on it throughout your Monday to keep you updated on any issues. A family out in California got a wild surprise while they're in their mountain home. Take a look here. A large bear caught on camera trying to break into their home last week. Seems smarter than your average bear as it rips that screen from the window, sticks its head inside. The family yells at it to shoo, and it eventually goes away. Christian Pondella recorded that entire encounter.
We're used to bear encounters. I've seen them lots. But for him to walk up the stairs while I'm here on the phone and just look at me and proceed as if I'm not here was, I guess, a bit shocking in that regards.
Well, the bear actually got inside the previous week. Mondella's wife screamed when she saw it, and it took off. The family says it's now consulting a local bear whisperer. Okay, they must have some kind of good food inside there that
right.
He's like, let me in to see that.
He keeps
Pretty
coming
funny.
back.
It's like, oh man, they're here again.
I don't blame him. Look how beautiful it looks. Oh, there goes the screen.
Yeah.
I want to come in for the party too.
Yeah.
So, all right. It's a warm one out there once again today as high temperatures will be climbing up into the 90s. And it's not just today. We're going to kind of carry the weather we had over the holiday weekend really throughout much of this week. A daily chance of some isolated storms in the afternoon hours. High temperatures generally around 93 degrees. Overnight lows in the 70s. The change, and it's a subtle one, comes Friday as a weak front comes through. That's when the storms are the most numerous across the area, and then slightly cooler temperatures as we fall into the upper 80s for highs by Sunday. Time now is 4:57. This is Good Morning Indiana. You're watching right here on RTV 6. Stay with us. We're back in just a couple minutes.